This is John Beathan with Alternative Health Tools, the podcast, and this is episode 51, titled Tools for an Awakening World with Ascending Master Kerri Lake, subtitled Facilitating a Paradigm Shift for Lisa Thorpe. To find out more, please visit kerrilake.com, and that's spelled KERRILAKE.com.
Now, let's bring your awareness into your body because your mind has a library of answers to that question. Mm-hmm. But really what we want to do is know what it feels like to let the truth generate the word rather than go to, a bullet list of multiple choice for what could be the latest and greatest spirituality craze, right? We want to feel the truth generated from my own essence to the degree that my body goes, oh yeah, I feel that. And it may feel like the familiar ease and peace and calmness. It may feel different than that. But I will know it because it is unmistakably the tone of my own truth. Some people have not felt it for a long time. Some people have never felt it. But when we start acknowledging that the mind has all the answers, and you're right, you know everything, and you could go reference it, and I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt that you've experienced it enough times that you could provide proof. I have no doubt of that. But what I'm interested in is, how does it feel when we do start commanding our own integration to speed it up and speed it up and speed it up? It really helps to have this super awesome, playful, fun friendship between the mind and the body. Right. So that it's not the mind always, having the right answer. It's the mind going, okay, what are we doing? Okay. So that's what we're playing with right here. And again, not to say that your mind is missing anything, but the only way for the mind to know something new is when the body has a sensory experience. Okay. Otherwise, it's referencing things that it's seen before. Language, facts, books, experiences, right? So when we want to invite more of me than I've ever had before, I'm going to give the mind the job to watch my physical body because that's how the mind will know it's real, it's happening, and new is actually coming in. So what we're playing with here is recalibrating, redirecting your awareness to open to the sensations of you and only you in your body, rather than giving your body over to the verbal and emotional ambient weather. B-A-Bay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
B-I, Bicky Bye, B-O-Bo, Bicky Bye, Bo, B-U-Boo, Bicky Bye, Bo, Boo. Hooray! That's the Three Stooges.
Is that where that's from?
C-E-C, C-I, Sicky Sai, C-I, So, Sicky Sai, So, C-U, Sue, Sicky Sai, So, Sue.
Wow, I had no idea where that came from. One of my friends from high school taught it to me.
That's the Three Stooges, baby.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
So what can I assist you with?
I don't know. Why don't we just talk about, I don't know. Tell me how you assist people.
That's a great question.
Yeah, and how you assist animals.
So I love what you already started, which is in what we're talking about with listening to the trees and listening to the animals. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of people will say, I don't really hear them, but I have this sensation of peace and this feeling of peace. So first and foremost, let's play with not separating hearing, vision, touch, and right. Instead, let's just call it movement of consciousness. It's movement. It's consciousness moving.
Right.
And we have different sensory apparatus to pick up different vibrations and tones of particles of consciousness.
Yes.
Because I would say, no question, you hear animals. No question, you hear trees. The real question is, what expectation do you have of the information you're supposed to receive and what you expect yourself to be able to do with it?
The expectation of what it is.
Of the information that you would receive when listening to a dog or a horse or a bird or a flower.
Well, I think that I have a tendency, like most people, to tune out and to just keep on with my busy work and my to-do list. Mm-hmm. And it's only in those moments when I really am taking the time to slow down mm-hmm. that I'm able to be present for that communication.
Sure. I don't know that
I have an expectation of it mm-hmm. My experience of it is when I'm in that state where I feel like I'm receiving communication clearly from everything around me. I know that it's just healing for all of us, right?
Oh, of course it is.
It's just, it's a resonant field. That's the best way I can explain it.
Of course it is.
I'm in the oneness. I'm in the space,
Right.
Christ consciousness. I feel saved. I feel
right.
all the things, depending on what your background is that you would describe as, positive.
Oh man, there's 800 things I want to play with in that.
Yeah, it's positive or negative, connected or disconnected. It gets pretty simple.
Or it's even simpler than that. Because what if we don't play in positive or negative?
And just it.
So yes, can you prove to me that love is positive or negative?
No, love is ever present. I don't think I could prove. To prove something, you'd have to disprove it, and that I don't think it's possible. But I think the concept
it's a fun game, though. And a lot
the
of people do it.
of love, for me, is very easily equated to energy, mm-hmm. and energy is always present. Mm-hmm. So
when would we ever not be in the oneness?
We're not. I think we're at times just not in recognition of it.
Well, of course. So this is a really brilliant moment, okay? We know the correct answer, that we are always connected. It's the correct answer. It's easy to just pull right off the shelf and go, oh, no, it's fine. We're always connected. Mm-hmm. But how many healers, how many people have been studying and practicing their whole life still say, oh, I'm just not connected right now. And I need to go here to be connected. I need to go there to be connected. Oh, here's what my day looks like.
Like I said, I need to slow down
I
need.
I need. Mm-hmm. So, I wonder, and so let's just play with this for 1 second, mm-hmm. okay? I wonder what it actually feels like to just never step out of it. I wonder what it feels like to truly acknowledge and welcome in that I am never disconnected. I wonder what that feels like. I wonder. Now, to play with that, maybe check in with your own mind at the moment and just take a look at how many analysis filters have their switch flipped on right now. How many filters are functioning in your own mind right now? You don't have to get the right answer, but just take a look.
It's optimized. Yeah, it's optimized.
Of course, because the mind has a ton of information mm-hmm. and it has a ton of its own experience, right? So nothing I'm going to share, nothing I share anywhere is about bucking the mind. It's not about challenging what the mind knows. It's, in fact, the opposite. It's saying, yeah, you know lots of stuff. And you've been there and you've done that. Yes, you know. Now, I wonder what still has the power to take me away from me. I wonder why I would ever not feel connected. I wonder. So what would your mind say about that?
Story.
So what's a story?
It's I identify what disconnects us from the feeling of being connected with what many understand to be the ego, or I also identify as our kind of animal self that's in fight, flight, or freeze. So, if, like I was saying, and I agree that we are always connected, but I identify the story as being when we go into a state where we're feeling pressured or scared or in any way, for me, going too fast, that I'm no longer accessing my higher rational centers, but in a more of an animal, egoic state where there's a story going on about, oh, I got to do this, or oh no, this is happening.
Totally.
And it's that fight, flight, or freeze where we suddenly are believing that we're disconnected and that it's not okay. And behind that not okay is always some story of why we're not okay. Oh, I'm late. Oh, I don't have enough money. Or, oh, so-and-so doesn't love me. They've rejected me. Or I'm just too fat. I'm too ugly. It's like whatever the story is that's causing the pain. Really, it's just a thought, right? It's a thought.
Well, actually, it's more than a thought. It's a judgment. A judgment of a judgment of a judgment of a judgment based on somebody else's judgment.
And probably an inherited one, right? Like, it was good. We know we inherit all this DNA patterns.
Absolutely.
So
all the cellular debris,
right.
all the Akashic record realms, and as on top of the experience, and then those of us who were so gifted and came into this lifetime to flush it all out, rewrite it and clear it this time, all of it gets brought right up to the surface, right?
Yep.
So how simple can this really be? That was always my question. There's thousands of years of teachings. There's, more than, whatever. Teachings forever. There are religions, there's belief systems, there's trainings, there's schoolings, there's on top of this and isms and all sorts of things, right? When you're a kid, you're taught, okay, you're supposed to pick something, spend 30 years learning it, and hopefully somebody will pay you so you can eat and exist. And, oh, by the way, you're a sinner, right? So you probably didn't deserve it in the first place. And all, and all of a sudden you've got this cascade.
But don't worry, keep sinning because you just have to ask for forgiveness.
Exactly. Hey, that's a good loophole. Isn't that a creative one?
One crazy loophole.
I love it.
Yeah.
Right. But am I really going to spend 30 years mastering everything that interests me? Probably not. So for myself, when I was 10 or 11, somewhere in there, my parents actually it was super Catholic in my dad's family. And my mom, not so much. That was super fear.
Yeah, same as mine.
Yeah. So I was really blessed that my parents actually said to me, please, Kerri, you pick the religion that works for you. And we'll support you, because they wanted to step away from all of the machinations of the Catholic Church and all of that good stuff. So how blessed am I that I was handed that opportunity? So I started looking around and asking questions, not of people, but, I would go direct and ask for the truth. I didn't have any idea. I didn't have language for going direct. It was me and, my buddies. That once I started talking about them, that got a little scary for my parents. But I started asking, why is Catholic, why does it exist? Why does Christian exist? Why do any of these things exist? And where are they all pointing? Because if I decide I'm Catholic, and Catholic says that other religion is wrong, or whatever, this one says that one's wrong, well, then I just have to turn around and be mean to other people. That makes no sense.
It's interesting because it was one of the hardest things for me was to choose not to be married and not to baptize my children. It was a really, really hard thing for me, knowing what it would have meant to my father and knowing what it meant and feeling the pressure from my own family. But at the end of the day, when it came down to it, for me to get up and take an oath stating that there was one holy and apostolic church. Right. And so it was a really painful process for me to deny what I considered to be my birthright, to be a part of a community that is an amazing community. Right. And I'm grateful to have been raised Catholic. I mean, I even went to a Catholic college, which in a way was the beginning of my exploration of what I really believed, because in that women's college, we did have to study religious studies. So I studied, mythology. I studied Christian beliefs. I studied multiple things beyond Christianity. So it got me thinking about, well, what do I really believe, and what am I willing to stand for? And I think it's interesting that it came full circle to a point where I realized I didn't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that for me, having a relationship with Jesus is still an important and a really positive part of my life. And I'm unlike, I definitely wouldn't fit into probably most Christian churches, because I don't believe I need the church. I feel completely safe to have that relationship without a church.
Yeah.
And there's all of these amazing tools and tactics and methods for us to be okay in the world.
Totally.
And that happens to be one that, for me, being raised with, is like, all of a sudden, if I'm not okay, I can just go, Jesus. And it's like, boom, I'm back to okay, because you can't thwart 30 years of indoctrination, or 20 some, yeah.
Yeah.
And realize, why wouldn't I always access that when I need it? But it's not, but I can also just go to a tree.
Totally.
Or go within me, you know?
Totally.
And I think, and I love learning more, and I love what you're teaching.
Well, thanks. What I love is recognizing, like, that moment when you recognize you just got hijacked into story or whatever the mind, whatever the fear
suffering,
is.
Yeah.
Well, that's judgment and all that good stuff, right? The moment that you recognize the hijack happened, that's a pop the champagne moment.
Right.
That's what I love. Like, that's the simplicity right there. But that simplicity comes with kindness, and people are so unaccustomed to that. People are unaccustomed to what kindness feels like moving through their body, because, like you've already said, there's the fight or flight, the survival, the trying to figure out me versus something.
Yeah, well, I think it's neuronal patterns,
of course,
that we inherit. Both it's nature and nurture, that we've got these patterns that we're playing. We're really like, literally, you know, I can see it in myself and in my brothers, that we have patterns like our parents and grandparents even, and then behavioral stuff that have just been repetition. And it's interesting. It's like, I feel like I can be more myself when I'm away from my family. But when I'm around my family, I mean, these are like neuronal grooves. These are actual grooves in the brain.
And there's magnetics.
And I immediately go right into those grooves. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know?
Totally. And that's there's magnetics in the mass consciousness grid systems as well.
Oh, there's been moments when I have acted or said or behaved in a way that I'm like, what the heck?
Totally, I know. Isn't it great?
And it's been long enough and happened enough that I realize I'm so sensitive, and a lot of people are going to think this is crazy. I'm so sensitive that I'm not skilled enough to be aware of what someone is expecting me to be like. But I can look back over so many circumstances and realize, whoa, I just showed up and even said something that somebody else was expecting from me that was not at all where I wanted, really in integrity, where I am.
Exactly. And you end up fulfilling the conversation in there.
I'm like, I've been such a contortionist my whole life, energetically being able, and I mean, it's got its pros and cons.
Oh, well, it's this total survival tool.
Yeah.
It really is a survival tool.
Yeah.
And well done, you, for getting to where you are now.
I stake no claims to anything, really. It's like you just are what you are, I think, more than we have potential, but...
Oh, no, it's all right here. So this is what's exciting to me, okay? Because the moment you would like to be aware of that dynamic before you step into it, you can have that with gentleness and kindness for yourself. Right. This is part of what I love sharing with very gifted people, because it's not like a new tool, it's not a new teaching, it's not a new anything, except for maybe a different way to play with your awareness, a different place to point it, so that you get the heads up every time. You're still going to feel the pull, you're still going to feel every bit of magnetics, that are in the room. You'll feel them 2 weeks before the family reunion, right?
Well, for me, I was going to say, for me, it's even more just being with my own children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
that's been the biggest wake up call for me is as a mother.
I bet.
Getting sucked into behavior that has been the scariest, hardest thing I've ever had to work to overcome.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because it's like, I mean, no offense, mom and brothers, but I don't give a shit if I hurt them. I mean, I do, but compared to my kids, oh my God, you know, you hurt your kids, you're just like, put me to the cross, you know. So that's, and I love that you used the word play, because for so long I was going at this very seriously.
Yeah, you're not alone on that.
Like, oh my God, I need to be a better mother. I need to be a better person. How could this happen? Serious research, classes, work, right? I'm going to fix this. And it's funny. I just recently was like, you know what? Seriousness is a disease and the cure is play. You know?
Yeah, it's it's a really effective control tactic to convince people that what they're doing is serious.
Convince.
Absolutely. And we're trained to be convinced of things. We're trained to look for the black and white. The polar opposite definition of whatever it is we think we want. And then we're trained to not move until our analysis is complete. It's all training. And then, by that time, you can't really guarantee you're going to get it right anyway. So that dance right there was another thing that really drove me when I was younger to just say, I want the truth. I don't care about assessments. I want the truth. And I knew it because I could feel what true was. And I actually did analysis with myself, watching TV, with relationships in my family and people, to get very clear on how my body feels in the presence of truth. And the animals guided me there because they don't lie. They're always saying, well, this is how it feels to be me.
Right.
And my body never lied either. I brought those two together and kept asking the animals, how do you guys keep giving to humans when humans don't hear you? They don't see you. They don't receive your love. They don't let themselves be loved. And yet you keep loving. How do you do it? And the answer, or the gift, unfolded over years and years, and I didn't have words for it for the longest time. But that's where the words, the absence of judgment, came from. So to characterize their answer to my question of how do you guys do it, the answer was, we live in the absence of judgment.
Isn't that beautiful?
We don't have a judgment for whether you used the correct bridle when you rode, whether you're using the right saddle. We don't have a judgment about whether you should have a collar or a body harness on your puppy dog. We don't have a judgment over how you use our dead bodies.
Or pain versus
They don't have judgment
kindness.
about pain or kindness.
The
They feel it.
The big thing is, there's the lack of judgment between pain versus kindness.
And now there's this very, very broad world of equine facilitated therapies and education and that kind of a thing, as well as, therapy animals of all kinds. And I like therapy ponies and therapy pigs. Have you seen that? It's so cute. But there too, what is it about the animal kingdom that brings that sense of therapeuticness? No different with trees. What is it? What would you say? And just tune into your body and feel, because the mind may not know this answer.
Yeah, I mean, energy is like the thing that always comes to mind for me, because...
But what's energy? Let's look at this, because that's one of your escape hatches.
Yes, it is. Okay. Can you repeat the question?
I will happily repeat the question. When we look at this presence of animals or trees that we would call therapeutic, what is it that we're calling therapeutic?
Connection.
What's connection?
A resonant field. It's a feeling. It's a feeling.
Okay. But what are you feeling?
A calmness, a stillness.
Mm-hmm. And where's that from? How's that happen?
You could say God. You could say the universe. You could say, Christ consciousness.
What interrupts that then? Now, let's bring your awareness into your body, because your mind has a library of answers to that question. Mm-hmm. But really what we want to do is know what it feels like to let the truth generate the word, rather than go to, a bullet list of multiple choice for what could be the latest and greatest spirituality craze, right? We want to feel the truth generated from my own essence, to the degree that my body goes, oh yeah, I feel that. And it may feel like the familiar ease and peace and calmness. It may feel different than that.
Right.
But I will know it because it is unmistakably the tone of my own truth. Some people have not felt it for a long time. Some people have never felt it. But when we start acknowledging that the mind has all the answers, and you're right, you know everything, and you could go reference it, and I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt that you've experienced it enough times that you could provide proof. I have no doubt of that. But what I'm interested in is how does it feel when the words are generated from there? So take your awareness right to this place that presents itself to you. Don't go looking. Where are you presented with the core center of my heart? Body, show me you feel it. Let your mind just watch the body. Let's not look to label it or understand it. Body, present me with the core center of my heart, the golden essence of my uniqueness. And let your body breathe. And the first place that lights up, that your body lights up. Brilliant.
It would be kind of just the center of like my both heart and solar plexus.
Great.
Kind of in between those two places.
Beautiful. So now let's take your awareness right to the sensation of it. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because we're going to get images, right? And the images are automatically going to reference out to other things we know. And I get that. That's how the mind loves to work. Mm-hmm. Let's acknowledge that. But what we want to do here is erase the board. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, from my awareness, from the center core of my being, light up, just like you can flip a switch. Body, there you go. Body, show me you feel it. Now watch how the physical body goes, oh yeah, I feel that. And what's it feel like to you?
Joy.
Cool. Anything?
Love.
Yeah. And how about in the physical?
Light.
And how about in the physical? How does the physical feel? How does the physical tell you it's light? I know. Cool, huh?
I know. I'm like, I don't know.
I know. This is why we go to the physical.
I think it gets into when you start to talk about something that's undescribable, words never do it justice. It's like the Tower of Babel. You can't really talk about a resonant field because if you're talking, you're not in it, right?
Well,
you're
maybe.
Like almost kind of popping. Yes, you're right. Sometimes you are. We always are.
Exactly. So let's come right back to the physical.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll give the mind a little assistance because it's just stumbling over things, not wanting to mess up and not wanting to do things really well. And I honor that. So erase the board and you're doing great. Okay. Let the body breathe. Like we're not doing breathing exercises. Just remember, let the body breathe for itself. Now, heart center open, center core light up. Now watch the physical body. Watch the difference in how the physical body feels. And I'll give you another quick way to play with this, okay? Because you really do have your essence moving through you really nicely most of the time. And then sometimes we get hijacked.
Right.
Right? And then sometimes we really get hard on ourselves. And that's a big hijacking as well. But you have you moving through you most of the time really beautifully. So well done you, even with everything you've come through, okay? But
is that uncommon? Or is that...
There's no way to compare, but there are a lot of people who live 4 to 6 or 8 feet above their heads. Right? In the astral planes of consciousness, right? So when we do start commanding our own integration to speed it up and speed it up and speed it up, it really helps to have this super awesome, playful, fun friendship between the mind and the body.
Right.
So that it's not the mind always, having the right answer. It's the mind going, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we're playing with right here. And again, not to say that your mind is missing anything, but the only way for the mind to know something new is when the body has a sensory experience. Okay. Otherwise, it's referencing things that it's seen before. Language, facts, books, experiences, right? So when we want to invite more of me than I've ever had before, I'm going to give the mind the job to watch my physical body, because that's how the mind will know it's real, it's happening, and new is actually coming in. Okay?
Well, I like the feeling, when for me, I'm aware of when I allow more energy into my body, and then I can feel it kind of traveling up my body or like up my spine, and there's like an opening that happens.
Yeah.
And in that opening, when it passes through the area that we refer to as like the solar plexus, I get like this kind of flush of happiness, right?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Which is where I said joy.
Beautiful.
And even a tingly like chicken skin, right?
Awesome.
That we get
Awesome.
when we let more energy in.
Absolutely. So let's play with that. That's beautiful. So let's erase the board. Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
No, I'm great.
Erase the board, just for funsies. Okay. Not because anything's right or wrong, good or bad, because that goes right back into the polarities of judgment. And we're just going to put those on the table for now. You can have them back later if you want.
Polarities of judgment.
I know. But hey, I tell everybody, you get to have them back if you want.
It's a good game. It's a game. That's all.
It's it for just 60 seconds, and then you get to have them back again. All the self-deprecation, all of it. You get to have it back if you want it. Okay? So, mind, just watch the physical body. Okay? And from Big Me, I'd like to be presented with the center core of my being. And right from the center core, heart center open. Now, where does your body say, oh, right here? Whether it's familiar or not. First place.
Well, my attention went to my hip, I think, because I just shifted.
Perfect. So, hello, hip.
Body, and so
let's go right.
Flow, the blood flow started traveling through my hip where I was leaning before.
So let's let it be that simple. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because how much then did you notice your mind go, well, it wasn't in my heart or solar plexus, it was my hip.
Well, it kind of did both. I was like, well, here we're talking about here, but this is now sensory shifted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the greatest ways, the most fun ways to invite this new friendship is when the body presents something, let's run with it. And the mind will like to go, compare. But last time, compare, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, hip, hooray. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the fun part. You can always erase the board.
Right.
And you can always go, oh, hi, hip. Awesome. So let's do that. Let's take your awareness right to where the hip said, this is happening. Mm-hmm. Right? Just let your awareness travel right down and through. And just notice what the hip has to say about having you there. Does it change? Does it contract? Does it relax? Does the space get bigger? Does the space get smaller?
It does everything you just said. As you say it, it does it.
Right.
So I can feel, it's like the words are powerful, because it's like I almost would have to work to do the opposite of a word. Like if I hear the word contract, there's a part of me that automatically contracts.
Absolutely.
If I hear the word open, then
right.
I open.
Right.
Right.
So this is the really fun part, where if you'd like, you can now begin to embody only yourself and nobody else. Because many of us who are very gifted survived
without boundaries.
It was more active than that. Survived by becoming what was going on around us, so that we would appear as a non-threat, and therefore hopefully not be attacked. It didn't always work that way, but many of us learned to function that way, and we used our empathic ability to do it. Right? So now people are much more aware of empathy and their empathic ability, and a lot of healers use their empathic ability and they'll defend it like crazy to say, this is how I do my work. And yet so many healers have chronic illnesses, chronic body issues, chronic instabilities, chronic dollar issues, and so there's a different way to understand this empathic ability. And now, because of where we live in frequencies, in vibrational frequencies, it's much easier now than it ever has been to integrate and welcome in and embody only myself, so that you're no longer at the effect of any emotional or verbal weather, so that we're not living in survival mode anymore, so that I actually become the emanation of my own presence. Now, teachings have been talking about it for years and years and years, right? And you and I can talk about it for years and years and years. But the question is, what's that actually like? Now, for myself, I'll share with you, it was a really tender, really scary day for me when I sat down and had a little heart-to-heart with the universe, where I had to admit to myself, maybe I don't know what that's like. Maybe I think I know, because I can talk about it and I can guide other people there. Maybe I don't know. But getting to that place of going, oh my God, maybe I don't know. That was the champagne moment, right? Where it's like, okay, now she's open for something new. We talk about it all the time, beginner's mind, all that stuff, but I wonder what that actually feels like. So what we're playing with here is a recalibrating, redirecting your awareness to open to the sensations of you and only you in your body, rather than giving your body over to the verbal and emotional ambient weather.
I think of like a little happiness bubble, or what came to mind is I've looked at stuff about toroidal fields.
Absolutely.
How
absolutely
these exist in nature and in our form.
And if you want to play with energy, start playing with toroidal fields.
Yeah.
And you're boom, 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 your body will go, oh yes, that's really happening. But see, I still come back to, what does it feel like for you to have you in your body? Because that right there is the universal gold. That's where all the religions are pointing. That's where everybody points.
So when we're having that experience, how do we maintain that when we get in situations that are triggering?
Mm-hmm. Well, really...
Or even stepping back into our day-to-day life.
Absolutely.
Where we have these patterns.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right. The first question in response, to consider is, what has the power to take me away from me?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm. Because really, where I'm at, if I'm really here and I'm waking up, and waking up is really about integration and welcoming myself in, I wonder what might have the power to take me away from me. Because as I am creator, I wonder what's more powerful than my connection with myself. So what would you say? If anything.
What has the power to take me away from me? Patterns was the thing I was implying, and because I've been fully aware that I've repeated patterns.
Of course.
And
so
that
patterns
I fall prey sometimes to, especially when we're tired or going too fast or.
Right. So what are patterns about, though?
There's the actual pattern in the brain, the actual groove that forms,
which is a symptom.
But the pattern, I think, is incited by a trigger. We have these responses that happen.
But why did humanity ever condition itself through patterning?
Isn't that survival?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Survival, safety, conformity, and domination.
Right.
So right there, remember we put all the judgments on the table? Let's leave the judgments on the table for a second and just call it for what it is. It's survival. Of course it is.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what humanity has been through the 6 or 7 different iterations of humanity and the different times we've wiped ourselves off the planet and come back and said, oh, well, we destroyed ourselves. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
And that's what's different about right now. Right now, our ascension through consciousness is because humanity unanimously agreed, let's not do it that way again. And I know things look really messy in the outside world right now, but look at what's arising through all of it, right? So what we have here is universal support to no longer have to destroy ourselves to know who we are. We get to go direct, connect, and bring it right through. The patterns and the survival and the domination and all those fun games that we've done for, eons and eons and eons, well, those are still here too. And if, you're called to go play there, have a blast. It's just not really going to, it's going to slow things down for you quite a bit. But I wonder how it feels to know myself as bigger than the patterns. And I'm not talking about, wordsmithing. I'm talking about the sensation of it.
The sensation. I think that's the powerful piece right there is the sensation.
So right
not the
here,
knowledge.
Let's erase the board because this is addressing your question, okay? About how do you stay there? How do you stay in that awareness and in that place? So let's erase the board. This is all addressing that question, okay? Now, from here, mind, you have one job. Just watch the physical body. Watch the textures. Watch the pressures. Watch the temperatures. Now, speaking from Big Me, heart center open. Body, show me you feel it. Now, what's the first thing that happened in your body?
I feel joy in my heart again.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So take your awareness right to the sensation of joy. How does your skin feel when there is joy in motion?
Alert, awake, alive.
Fantastic. Does it feel conflicted?
No.
Does it feel tense?
No.
Great. Take your awareness right to the sensations.
I'm leaning, so I'm getting the sensation that I'm leaning.
Well, and how perfect, because your body has been saying that that's a lot of pressure on those points the whole time we've been sitting here.
Right.
And now you just brought yourself a little more into your body,
right.
And you're listening, and you honored your body. Well done, you. So now let's erase the board. Erasing the board is one of the tools that helps you stay aware of your awareness rather than hijacked. Okay, it's one of the tools. There are times when there's so much hijacking going on, it's impossible to remember tools exist. So let's just acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's when people start, diving into this conversation and open up to saying, okay, if there's something that will help, then all right, but I'm not really sure, the mind comes up with all sorts of, and I'm not pointing at you, I'm talking about the minds of humanity.
I have scaled the chutes and ladders of the map of consciousness over and over and over again my entire life. As a big fan of Hawkins' work.
Yes.
So I know when we go into the depths of what I call disconnect, into those places where you can't even access willingness, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course, because you're hijacked.
Because you're so hijacked or depleted that there's nothing but the grief or the shame or the pain, the suffering,
right?
And the process of how we get back out of that.
So remember all those things we put here on the table?
Mm-hmm.
What do those things have to say about the grief and the sadness and being hijacked?
Oh gosh, they could go on. They've got all
Like
kinds
what?
of their judgments, right?
So what do they have? Let's really call it out, because this is generating clarity for the mind.
Yeah.
The mind can spin within all the things it's studied forever and ever and ever. But when we want to guide the mind into something new, let's just go as slow as the slowest part and ask the mind, what is it that these judgments would have to say about getting hijacked?
It's inevitable.
Okay. And what's wrong with that?
It's human experience, and it's
But what's wrong with that?
yeah, it just is, right?
But according to judgments, what's wrong with it? Because according to judgments, there is something wrong with it.
It's suffering.
What's wrong with suffering?
It's painful.
What's wrong with pain?
It hurts.
What's wrong with that?
Sometimes you can't handle it.
That's true as well, but what's wrong with it?
What is wrong with that? Well, then that's like, it leads down into that shame of not being able to handle the pain and the suffering.
Okay.
Not being
That's
able to
super common. But what's wrong with shame?
Or the grief. Shame is what's wrong with shame is the lack of ability to autocorrect.
Okay.
And learn from whatever it was that was causing the shame.
Okay, but what's wrong with not having learned a lesson? I mean, what does it sit? Let me phrase it differently.
Well, I'm trying to come from the perspectives of the judgments.
I know, and yet your mind is still also trying to keep you not judging at the same time.
Right.
So, like, if we're, because we all know that not judging is upright and justified.
Yes.
Okay. See that little that
judgment.
conflict that it does for itself. Oh, I'm going to judge you, but I'm going to do it in the most non-judgmental way because that means I'm a good person.
Me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of people caught up in that,
Yeah.
understandably. But notice all of that lives on this table. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, like, if I were going to, bring out judgments about pain and suffering and grief, it would be like, no, they're terrible. You shouldn't ever feel pain, because if you did something wrong, and it was probably your fault in the first place. And you probably deserve to suffer because you should have seen it ahead. Look at how gifted you are. You should have seen that ahead of time. And you obviously are a fraud because now we put all that on the table. It all lives on the table. Mm-hmm. What was it like even just listening to those words? Did you notice what happened?
Yeah, I could feel that in my body. I was like, wow, I'm attaching to all those things.
Exactly.
And that kind of made me laugh because it's obviously not real.
And yet
I was totally attaching to those things.
Yes.
And they were like little knives. And I was like, oh, there's my shame. There's my guilt.
Exactly.
There's my fear.
Let's take it all out.
And I could feel these little contractions. Yeah.
Let's take it all. Well, beautiful.
Yeah.
Put it on the table. Mm-hmm. This is a magic table. Yeah. You can have them back later if you want them. Okay. So now, as we take these things out, literally as particles of consciousness, from your physicality, from every dimension, all 4 levels, everywhere. Heart center open. Let your body go, oh, I feel it. And now just watch. Whether your mind thinks it knows this or not is irrelevant, but your mind can know it if it watches the body. So heart center open. Now let's watch that golden essence that is your uniqueness and none others, not even mine. I've got mine. Mine's doing great. Yours is great too. Let's watch that golden essence find its own way into all the spaces that just opened up because we took those judgmental particles of consciousness and put them on the table. Mm-hmm. But watch how your body feels. Watch how it just wants to sit back and relax. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now take your awareness right to your jaw. What's my jaw up to?
My jaw feels tight.
Right. Brilliant. But when you bring your awareness to it, it just relaxes, right? So now let's watch that core center of my being expand up through my jaw. And now this is not something the mind can make happen. This is not visualization. Okay, this is actually commanding it forward, watching it happen in a way where the mind can go, oh.
Commanding our own energy as opposed to
your essence.
Mm-hmm.
your essence. Because what you're playing with here is actually, I'm not going to call it energy. I'm going to call it your presence.
Essence, presence.
And let's feel the difference. Like even using those words, because you're right, words carry tones and frequencies. Let's acknowledge that too. And if we say, like, just tune into it now. Heart center open. Let's have another expansion. But yeah, see, and isn't it easier each time? And you can feel it and recognize it easier each time, right? Heart's good. And then it just wants to happen all by itself. So now, let's just play with this, like trying on a dress, okay? This is my energy moving through my body. Just try on the sentence.
This is my energy moving through my body.
And notice how it feels when you say it. Don't compare it, just notice.
Right.
Now erase the board. Now heart center open. Letting the body breathe. Good. You're doing great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm having fun.
Yay, me too.
Yeah.
Heart center open. Now let's just try this on like a dress. This is my presence moving through my body.
This is my presence moving through my body.
Which one carried the tone of truth?
Presence. Yeah, presence felt more personal.
What does personal mean?
Connected.
We keep coming back to that word. What is connected?
Actually in my body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Great. So feeling my own presence moving through my body, we could call that the sensation of truth. Yeah. Your body's never going to lie. It's just we don't have a lot of associations through our own systems for truth. Right. Except, truth bumps. Yeah. That was undeniable.
I mean, a lot of people practice kinesiology and know how to check for a double, positive or negative.
Absolutely, which is fantastic until the mind overrides the body.
Exactly.
See?
Yeah.
So what we're playing with here, and the way I'm sharing it with you is uber simplified.
Yeah.
Because we want to give the mind new information. We want to restructure the way the mind understands how all of our information relates to our body.
And would you say that this is, it's like taking your essence, like it's if you're practicing embodying your own essence, that this is something that you become more adept at with practice, right?
Yeah, every single time you play,
yeah,
yes, there's more of you there and there's no going back.
Right.
Okay? But myself, I don't practice it. I just do it.
Right. Because it becomes innate.
Exactly. Because if I'm going to practice it, how many back doors does that give the mind to say, well, I can't possibly...
I didn't do my practice.
And look at what a victim I am of the outside world.
To the essence gym today.
Exactly.
my essence biceps are looking really flabby.
So seriously, if we really want to do this, and I'll just be honest, I'm a super glutton, and I was basically all set to leave the planet when I was 24, and when it became obvious that I wasn't going to do that, then it's like, okay, then change this or get me out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it myself. If I'm meant to be here, bring me everything I require. Thank you. And I'm not joking. And it's not a request. It's a command.
It's a command.
Right? Mm-hmm. Now, this is, and there's just eons of little details that the mind thinks are important. And that's why, when we get the chance to walk people through it individually, we can address those real specific little things, honor them, and dissolve those patterns you're talking about, and very literally change the neural pathways, very literally change the cellular structure. Mm-hmm. And, science is all on that stuff now.
Well, and this is the space of miracles. You think about it. We're so caught up in the belief that, our brain, like even I was saying, these grooves, or our body, that this is matter.
Right.
But yet you take a basic chemistry class, a basic science class, and you find out, no, actually everything's just a bunch of space and little tiny particles and
totally.
and with attraction. And so everything's moving already anyway.
so how can I guide it? A certain
amount of suggestion of bringing your essence into it can create change in form.
Absolutely.
Instantaneous.
Absolutely. Totally. Because there's this whole...
If you're willing to command it.
There's this whole spontaneous remission concept. When I learned about that, I'm like, oh, I'll have that. I don't have cancer, but I want that.
Spontaneous. Can you remiss all of the other things?
Exactly.
Decided.
But imagine
to put on the table of judgments.
If I am creator, and just because I exist, I have an innate and uninterruptible connection with the divine intelligence of all that is, expressed through my own uniqueness,
right?
And my own unique tone.
It's our birthright.
I'll have that. Right? Again, not a request. I will have that. Thank you. I put my order in. It's in the kitchen, But the next question is, well, then what is that like when that is commanding the movement of the space between the particles? That's what you and I are playing with.
Right.
So when
the feeling, the sensation.
It. Then again, this is where the mind comes in. The mind is on board when it has proof from the body that it's actually happening.
Right.
Okay? This is bringing it all together.
It contradicts what we're used to thinking, that the mind is directing the body, but the body's directing the mind. And
the body's communicating
together. Right?
Yes. As friends. I mean, best friends, let's go. But,
Damn you, brain. What do you mean, body?
I know. I'm not going to be giving my car keys to my mind, the consciousness keys anyway. Yeah. But this is where we're at. Is calling in my presence so that it is my awareness of my presence that generates my movement in the physical. Now, people say, shine your light and follow your heart, and, it's marketed to death. But what does it actually feel like? And to follow my heart, does that mean I have to have an online coaching business? I don't know. For some people, maybe. But it's all a wonderful beginning. But, we got to kind of ask, where's it taking me? And, myself, I looked at all that where everybody was pointing, and I said, take me there and let's start there. Because I'm not going to learn all that stuff. I'm just not. But that exists. I'll have that. It's claiming all that you are. Mm-hmm. So what we're playing with here, so let's play with it one more time. Erase the board. Okay? Now, mind, all is well. This is just for funsies. But I promise you, the more you play with it, you begin to embody faster, exponentially. And there's no going back. And why would you want to, right? So, erase the board. Yeah. Unless you really want control.
No. I have questions, but...
okay, go ahead, please.
I have questions. Because I would love to play this game with my kids.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what more powerful thing than for them to learn at an early age? And in a way, kids do this innately. Kids do this automatically. Like, their energy is more in their essence. They're
Absolutely.
more in themselves and experiencing joy.
And who they are.
Yes.
Right. We call it joy, but it's really you.
It's you. Right. So, helping them to identify that joy, that state of feeling that way is who they really are.
Right. Or to guide their understanding of what they're feeling. That's how I would share the language of it. How can I guide their understanding of what they feel? So where would I begin with that is let's continue to open and clarify your awareness of how you feel because they are feeling you. And you could sit them down and say, okay, now, when you feel this, it means this. And that's how things usually go. My tummy hurts. Oh, you're hungry. Okay, my tummy hurts. That means I'm hungry. And then they live according to that for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. That's how training works. Again, it's not a good or a bad. Good and bad are on the table right now. We're just looking at it for what it is. So, how does my body feel if I know this person is coming over? Solar plexus, what are you doing if I know I have to go to that appointment today? Solar plexus, what is your assessment of that decision or this decision? Okay? And it's going beyond the kinesiology. It's including that. Kinesiology is a tool to take you here. Mm-hmm. So, all tools are valid. Mm-hmm. We just get to use them more efficiently and use what actually works for us, right? So that would be my first question to you, is to guide the understanding for your kids. How much am I aware of my own body? Because say, Dad says so-and-so is coming over, and last time he came over, they got in an argument and everything was bad. So, okay. All right, my sweet little kids. First of all, when I know that this guy's coming over, it kind of makes me feel tense right here. Does that feel that way for you guys?
Right.
Wow. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
And if that feeling could talk to you in words, what would that feeling tell you? And let's listen, not for something that fits what we have learned. Let's listen to them talk about their sense and just welcome it forward of, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, here's how mine feels. Mm-hmm. What do you want to do with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And how honoring is that of them? But in that little dance, you're teaching them sensations happen. You're teaching them awareness happens. You're teaching them that the awareness of their sensations happen. You're teaching them that you are willing to honor them. You're teaching them that they are not alone. You feel too. You're aware too. And you're right there with them side by side, not a dictator saying, I'm the adult. You don't know what you're doing yet, so just do what I tell you, which is not what's in your heart. And they don't anyway, right?
Yeah, it's like asking for trouble with my kids.
Right. And then from there, well, my tummy does this and it feels like this, and I think this is what I should do about it. Well, what a great opportunity to guide them. That makes total sense. And if you do that, here's where it's heading. But if you do it this way, here's where it's heading. Which do you prefer? And holy empowerment, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a self-empowerment, yeah.
But it all starts from your willingness to feel your own body.
Yeah, well, we've got to walk our talk, right?
Well, no, you don't have to.
Or is it?
Because a lot of people don't, and they seem to do just fine.
Not have to, but if we're intending, if our heart's desire is to give the greatest gift of,
because it's who you are,
self-embodiment, awareness,
yeah,
and the knowing ability to overcome the inner landscape, right?
Or to welcome in who you really are, and this is what it's actually like to feel your heart alive in your body.
Right.
Because all of the rest of it is mental dance.
Yeah.
Okay? So, right back again. Heart center open. Body, let me know you feel it. Going back to your question of how do we not fall out of this? You're going to fall out of it. Mm-hmm. You're going to get distracted. You're going to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, because what came up for me the last 2 times is all of a sudden I'm just aware that I feel tired.
Yes, ma'am. Well done.
Like, I feel tired.
So
I need a nap.
Totally. Let's let it be that
Yeah.
simple.
Mm-hmm.
And so you and I together, taking your awareness right in through your body. And letting the yawn happen, don't stifle it. And now check your jaw and how much your jaw really knows how to control everything. You're doing great. Heart center open. Body, let me know you feel it. And let's just acknowledge, tired.
Tired.
So now, let's let that drop through. Watch, yes, I'm tired, move through your body. Because of course you're still going to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to do what you need to do. Of course you are. And I feel tired. Heart center open. So, you can go there anytime. You're wearing a scarf. If you notice familiar patterns of bracing start to happen, pick up the end of your scarf and remind yourself where the physical world exists.
Yeah.
Have a rock in your pocket to remind yourself where the physical world exists. Because it's the physical world that's actually going to be guiding you to what works.
So, when you're teaching people, when you're helping people to experience their own essence and to come into their own joy, empowerment, how does that how does that translate into helping them work with animals or to work with I know horses is one of the big things that you focus on.
They are They go hand in hand and interchangeable. Being with the horses and the animals already have that, just like the trees, have that congruent presence that never doubted who they are. They just are this pure emanation of a uniqueness in a body on a planet. So the presence of animals already provides that tone that can help individuals remember the steadiness of that tone within themselves. From there, when people do give themselves the willingness to feel their essence in their body, and then just let your awareness be with the sensations of it, watch as communications come from everywhere. Because right there, you have stopped separating yourself from the open source that consciousness is.
How do you help someone who believes they're stuck, say, in their grief or in their, in whatever state of survival that they believe they're stuck in?
Basically, bring a picnic basket, sit down, and just have a party together for a little while.
Yeah.
And just go, all right, we're stuck. Let's be stuck.
Yeah.
Right?
And
let's just be stuck. But let's not, figure it out. Let's not try and escape it. Let's just sit here and be stuck.
Right.
And, well, where's your body holding on to stuck?
Right.
So where's your body holding on to stuck?
I don't feel I feel tired, but I don't feel stuck.
Yeah?
Yeah. I feel like I have access to that. I like that you said switch.
Yeah.
Switch the light on, or how did you say it? Switch.
Oh, that works. Just
switch the light on.
Flip
the switch.
Yeah.
It's like switch.
And it's great to play with the switch, because when you come in and heart center open and body let me know you feel it, now reach over and flip the switch off. If you want clarity of the sensations through the body and contrast.
And my body right then was like, no.
Exactly.
No.
So then switch back on.
Yeah, it doesn't want to switch off. It's like, no.
And we're on. Right?
Yeah.
So how do you help people through that stuff? Let's just honor it for what it is. Really, even for 30 seconds, what does it feel like to take the judgment of, this is a bad thing, I shouldn't have this. This is a good thing, thank God I accomplished it, and put them both on the table. And just let myself feel the sensation of not good, not bad.
What's really interesting is just from doing this exercise a few times, I was less able to identify and actually attach to the bad feeling. So I feel protected, which is really cool.
Well,
because
hooray.
Normally it's super easy for me to connect in with the bad feeling.
Yeah.
And he's, easily connecting in with the good feeling as well when once focused upon. But it's interesting that I went, oh, that's, wow, I didn't feel it.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
You know why? Because we dissolved it and you filled in that space with you.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Well done.
What a great exercise.
It is.
Yeah.
Well,
knowing
you can make it an exercise or you can live that way.
Right.
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 For me, it's a priority.
Yeah. I think it starts as what seems like an exercise and then becomes a habit and then becomes your life.
Well, yes. And it's always playtime.
Yeah.
It's always playtime.
Yay.
I know.
It's always playtime.
It's always, when can you not be playing with your essence?
Right.
And it goes back to what has the power to take me away from me. Right? And we're convinced, like we said earlier, lots of things are more powerful than me. Like other people's judgments.
Yeah.
And let's not get in a fight with that. Of course we were convinced of that, but...
Avoidance. Yeah, wanting to avoid a feeling, avoid circumstance is what came to mind.
Yeah. You just reminded me of this. There's a thing in here. An organic reality happens without trying. It's what life looks like when we stop trying to be something and stop trying to avoid being something.
Yeah.
Animals live in this reality. They live and express exactly how they feel each and every minute, their perceptions, preferences, and wisdom just by being who and what they are. As we remember that the animals in our lives are creatures of equal value, intelligence, and wisdom, we make ourselves available to hear, understand, and apply what they have to share. True equality is the absence of judgment. Throughout our time and activities with animals, they perpetually lead by example how to live in community, how to let others be exactly who they are, and how to allow ourselves the same freedom. Listening, hearing, and clearly understanding what animals have to share requires one thing and one thing only: an open heart. As we open our hearts where no judgment has ever existed, we tap into the language shared by all creatures throughout time and space. What we hear comes more clearly as we embrace ourselves, accept our own humanity, and know that the entire animal kingdom is here to assist us, to love us, to share and evolve with us side by side.
Beautiful.
That's what you just reminded me of.
I love it. I love it.
So thank you.
No, thank you. This has been a fabulous, really
Thank
enjoyable.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best part because it's super fun for me to share.
And now, Kerri, and you do this for people and for animals and...
Yes. One-on-ones with people or groups are great.
Yeah.
Just so gorgeous. But
well, I think what's cool is people could just listen to the show and experience tremendous amounts of inner healing, just and have a method to
the simplicity, right?
Yeah.
And how much does the mind try to do backflips about how simple it is?
Right.
But it's really erase the board.
Right. Keep erasing the board.
Start over.
Because the ego immediately, oh, not me, I can't. I'm always in a bad mood, right?
Exactly.
Like, no,
you don't know what I have to deal with, right? Like, okay, have fun.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you, all those things that we put on the table, do you want them back?
No. Hell no.
So
throw that stuff out.
So let's take all of that and let's very literally, again, this is, we're doing this in consciousness, just like you dissolved and filled in your space. Let's take all of this and bind it back to the sun to be repolarized for the good of all humanity and never to return, and feel it happen. Right. Tune right in. And you, through your physical, you can just know, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, it's gone. Right.
And now fill that space with more of my essence.
I love it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
24/7, baby.
Yeah. Kerri, it was awesome. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, Mike, thanks for playing.
Yeah,
Thank you for showing up and, dancing.
And thank you, John. Nice work.
Yeah.